Bible Buzz. It's time for Bible Buzz.
Hello there! Welcome to our fourth training video on how to use puppets in your kids group, especially during this coronavirus pandemic. So we're going to find out more about that in a bit, aren't we? This is Betsy Bear, by the way, if you haven't met her before. Oh, and you think we should say hi to Bertie Badger? Yeah? Okay, well let's put you down over here then. There you go, you sit there for me. Shall we have a see if Bertie wants to say hi? He's just there. He's a bit quiet sometimes. Come on, Bertie. Oh, Bertie. He always does that. He's a little bit shy, you know. So I'll try and get him up. Come on, Bertie. Come on. What's he doing down there? Come on, Bertie. Oh, he is really quite shy. Bertie, it's okay. It's okay. They're friendly, really. Come on, Bertie. Oh no! Bertie said he's feeling sad. You don't think anyone loves you? And you don't feel very special? And now you feel really, really, really sad? Oh, you get your tissue. Oh, do you know what made me feel sad? Oh no. Oh, come here, let's have a cuddle. I'll tell you what are we gonna do, Bertie? What do you think we should do? Hey, I've got an idea. Let's ask Mr. Bible. He has really special words. I bet he will help us. So I'm going to put you down here, Bertie. You'll sit there. You keep listening. And in Bible Buzz, what we do to get Mr. Bible up is we have a song that I'm going to sing right now. If you don't have a song to sing, then you can just shout for Mr. Bible if you want to. But I like singing a song called Bible Buddies in Their Buggies to find Mr. Bible. You might want to shout, Mr. Bible, to find him. Whatever you do, I'm going to just show you what I do with Bible Buds. So we all get into our buggies and get our wheels going, or if children have got toy buggies, they can race around the room with them. But this is what I do. So it starts slow and then it gets faster. Bible buddies in their buggies racing all around. We are ready, oh so ready, heading Bible bound. 1, 2, 3, can you see? Can you see Mr. Bible? Nope, let's go a bit faster then, are you ready? Bible buddies in their buggies racing all around. We are ready, oh so ready, heading Bible bound. 1, 2, 3, can you see? Maybe he's down here. No, we're going to have to go faster and look even harder. You ready? Bible buddies in their buggies racing all around. We are ready, oh so ready, heading Bible bound. 1, 2, 3, can you see? I can see Mr. Bible. Are you ready? He's down here, I'm just finding him for you. Mr. Bible, a Bible bud we found. Yeah, we found Mr. Bible. Now, Mr. Bible, Bertie Badger's been feeling very sad. Can you tell him some special words? Okay, you ready, everybody? You are worth much more than the birds. Did you hear that? You are worth much more than the birds. Let's try that again. This time I want you to firstly point to each other when we say you, so you point, are worth much more, so stretch out your hands as far as you can, than the birds. Make some flappy wings. You can even tweet if you want to. Okay, you ready? You ready, Mr. Bible? You are worth much more than the birds. There you go. Thank you, Mr. Bible. That was very good. Now, can you go and sit down there for me and we'll see what else we've got going on. There you go. Right, let's get Bertie back just to see what he thought of that verse. Come on then, Bertie. Oh, he's just gone shy again. Come on. Now, Bertie, that Bible verse from Mr. Bible, which was in Matthew chapter 6, verse 26, is from the new part of the Bible. And those words, I think, will actually be really helpful for you and how you're feeling right now. And I think you won't be very sad afterwards. So, shall we listen to a Bible story? Yeah? Alright, wave goodbye to the children then. Bye bye, bye bye. Now you sit there and you listen carefully, won't you? There you go. Ooh, ooh, ooh. There you go. Now we are going to read that story about Jesus talking about how much more we are worth than the birds and the flowers a little bit later. But I wanted to just quickly share a few thoughts from that sketch. Hopefully you've realised that there was a point to doing that. I'm going to share some techniques with you right now of what I did to make that puppet sketch come alive. So here goes. So the first thing to think about is learning the main points on the script. So don't have your script right in front of you word for word so that you're doing your puppet whilst looking at your script. That is not very engaging, is it? So try and learn your main points. And something I like doing is writing out the key words and having some cues. That could be on a PowerPoint, so I quite often have the PowerPoint cues on my laptop as I'm doing a Facebook Live event. Also, in the Bible Buds resource, we have some prompt sheets that have the key sentences, key words for the puppet sketches and also the Bible story for each session. So it could be that you use the prompt sheets from Bible Buds to help you with jog your memory over what is needed for your puppet sketch. But don't have all of the words right there as you're doing the puppet sketch. Try and learn the main points. Another thing to think about is practicing. Practice your sketches, your puppet sketches, before you do your event with your children. Now, it might be that you practice with your puppet, or you could even just practice with your hand. I sometimes do that, just to kind of help you remember what you're doing. Isn't that right? As you're practicing, it's a really good idea to just keep an eye on the time. So if you've got a watch or a phone stopwatch or something, just to help you think about how long it is. And if it's kind of lasting a long time, that means that you need to think about shortening it to around five or so minutes. So yeah, have a think about your timing. Yeah. Also, just have a think about some of the practicalities. So as you're having a go with your script, it might be that you realise that you haven't got enough space to do what the script says, or you haven't got the right props, or there might be some special things that you need to just work through and practice in order for it to make sense. So have a think about the practicalities of what you're doing. And yeah, just have a go at practicing, and that will help with your confidence as well. So practice your sketches. Another thing to think about is preparation, and making sure that you have thought about what you're doing before you just get straight into it, and ways to make it easier on yourself. For example, with Mr. Bible, my mate Mr. Bible, here he is. Now, he has some really good words, doesn't he? And I don't want to get those words wrong. So I always write the words on the back. If you can see there, my post-it note and the Bible reference, just in case. That just makes my life feel a lot easier and less pressured. So I always make sure I'm prepared and have written the Bible verse on the back of Mr. Bible. Another thing to be prepared about is thinking about your clothes. So quite often with Bertie Badger, what I do, because he's black, I quite often, can you see, I wear the black tops so that if I've got a t-shirt on or something, it's not quite as obvious that Bertie Badger is on my hand as if I did that. That is way more obvious, isn't it? So have a think about your clothing and your colour of clothing and your long sleeved or short sleeved t-shirts for whatever puppets you are using. Another thing to think about as you're practicing and as you're preparing yourself is to think about how your puppet enters the scene. So here's a little sneaky tip for you. I quite often pretend that Bertie's really shy, because rather than getting him and fiddling about and putting my hand inside him all on camera, which I think looks a little bit funny, I tend to kind of quickly nip him away like that, and it looks like he's really shy. Well, that's what I'm going for anyway, and I just big up and overemphasize the fact that he's really shy and, oh, come on Bertie, come out, and like have a lot of time just doing that, so that it gives me an opportunity to get him in my hand properly, make sure that my sleeve's pulled down and everything is alright, and only when I'm ready do I introduce him. Here he is! And we can still play on the fact that he's shy, can't we? So yeah, have a think about how your puppet enters your scene. It might not be that your puppet is shy. Maybe, like Mr. Bible, he's hiding. And again, whilst I'm down here trying to find him, I'm just sorting my hand out and making sure I've got him in the right place so that when I bring him up, he is ready. For puppets, big puppets like Betsy, it's quite easy to just pretend that you're holding her whilst you get your hand up the back, like that. Because she's quite a nice easy hole at the back for you to just slip your hand up. So you could just be pretending that you're holding her whilst the rest of you is getting up the back, like that. So there you go, there's some ideas. There you go, Betsy. So have a think about how your puppets enter your scene. Another thing you might have spotted in that little sketch I just did was how I used my face, my facial expressions. Now, something that is really helpful when you've got a puppet, because puppets aren't real, shock horror, they can't actually show their emotions very well. Bertie Badger actually just looks like that. So you have to do a lot of the expressions for Bertie. So when he was sad, I mean, he could lower his face like that. That does help make you look sad, Bertie. But another thing to help is what you're doing. So if you noticed in the sketch, I looked sad too. We're both looking sad, and we even both got a tissue to make us feel better and wipe our tears and blow our nose. Like that. So Bertie doesn't look any different really, but he feels sad because I feel sad. So think about your facial expressions to match your puppet's expressions. The other thing to think about is your facial expressions in terms of your response to your puppet. So maybe your puppet's done something a little bit cheeky, naughty, and if you were meant to be the grown-up of the pair, then rather than having a cheeky, mischievous face too, unless you want to do that, you would probably have a parental kind of face of disapproval. So have a think about your response. Maybe your facial expression is different to your puppet. So Bertie Badger, I don't think that's a good idea. Okay, so something like that. Think about your facial expressions. Another thing to think about that you might have noticed me do in the sketch is to think about your puppet's voice. Now, for Bertie Badger and Betsy Bear, I don't actually give them a voice because I think that's really quite difficult to do, making sure your voice is changed and it looks like Betsy is talking, not you. So I think it's quite a lot easier to, yeah, that's right, to make them whisper. And, oh yeah, that's a clever idea. Betsy just said it also gives you, the puppeteer, a chance to remember your lines. Like, you could just be doing this for ages whilst you're remembering your lines. So yeah, think about your puppet's voice. So if you want them to just whisper, make sure they're whispering into your ear and that you look like you're listening. Now, I know I just said that it's okay to, if you've forgotten your lines, to let your puppet whisper a long time. That's fine, but actually sometimes if you already know the lines, then it's great to break it up a little bit so it looks more like a conversation rather than one long one-way conversation. So let's have a little practice of that. Are you okay, Betsy Bear? You went to the park and you saw a slide and you went down the slide and you thought it was really fun? So you had another go? Amazing! Did you see how it felt a little bit more like a conversation and I repeated what she'd said? Let's have a look, see what it looked like if it was just one long conversation. Wow! Betsy went to the park and she saw a slide and went down it and it was really fun. So there you go, that's just an example of using your puppets to whisper whatever they're trying to communicate and break it up a little bit so that it's more of a conversation. Now, if you decide that you do want to give your puppet a voice, for example, Mr. Bible, then here's a tip for you. Let's get Mr. Bible up. Now, when you're saying a word, then the way to move their mouth is to think about every syllable. So whenever I say a syllable, you open your hand. So let's have a go. Let's say hello. Is the word hello in the Bible? Okay, let's say holy. And that's definitely in the Bible. You ready? Holy. See there? So it was two syllables, ho and lee. And I open my hand on ho and lee. Holy. Okay, let's try a longer word now. What about holy is the Lord Almighty? There you go. Are you ready? Okay. Holy is the Lord Almighty. Did you get that? Let's do it one more time. Let's just go a bit slower so that you can see. Holy is the Lord Almighty. So you're always opening it on the syllable. And that way it looks like he's talking. Okay, I'm going to get the puppets back up in a minute. But before I do that, just a quick plug. The Bible Buds resource is really good for using puppets and having a lot of fun with them. They're aimed for 2 puppeteers to do each sketch, but I've found when I've done my Bible Buds live events on Facebook that I've used one puppet and then I've often played the role of the other puppet in the sketches, or I've amalgamated the scene so it's just the one puppet doing it. So it's fairly simple to adapt like that. But yeah, have a look at the Bible Buds resource for some fun puppet sketches to do. Okay, before we move on to getting the puppets back to join us, I want you to have a quick go at one of these techniques. So why don't you have a go at practicing your facial expressions with a puppet or with your hand, by asking your hand or asking your puppet what is wrong. Now it could, or how are you feeling? So once they've told you how they're feeling, try and use your facial expressions to express what they've just said. So have a go at practicing your facial expressions with your puppet. Go on, pause this video, go and have a go, and then rejoin me in a minute. Go for it. Right, I think it's time to get Bertie Badger and Betsy Bear back. This time, see if you can spot any other techniques that I'm using, and then we'll chat about them afterwards. Well, I've got Bertie here. Now remember earlier, Bertie was feeling a bit sad because he didn't think he was very loved. He didn't think he was very special. Oh, well, do you remember we said we would listen to Mr. Bible's words, and he said we are worth much more than the birds. So then we've read, or are going to read, a Bible story from Jesus, and he talked about the birds, didn't he? And the flowers, and how we are worth more than the birds and the flowers. Isn't that great? Well, Bertie, are you ready? Because Betsy and I, we have had a little chat together, and we have got an idea, something to cheer you up. You want to know what it is? Okay, shall we shout for Betsy then? Betsy! A bit louder. Betsy! Come on, Betsy. Come on. Come on. Here she is. Oh, look. Betsy's got a flower for you, Bertie. Ah, to remind Bertie of how special he is. Oh, isn't that great? Oh, and you think Bertie's special too. Oh, how does that make you feel, Bertie? Oh, goodness me, he's got all excited. Oh, goodness me, wow. Bertie, you look very, very excited. Calm down, calm down. Oh, you just feel so excited and happy that you are precious and you're special. Oh, isn't that great? Let's have a great big hug. Oh. Well, wasn't that a nice happy ending? Oh. Did any of you spot anything else that you thought, oh, that's a good technique? Maybe, hopefully. Well, let me just share some extra few thoughts about puppeteering. So something to think about is your puppet's position and how much they move. So quite often, if you're trying to think about your lines, it's very easy to just kind of forget that you've got a puppet on your hand and just relax your hand and it just goes dead. It doesn't look like it's very alive, does it? So it might take a bit of practice like we already talked about, but it's really important that whilst you're talking and saying something about whatever the script is, your hand is still moving and your puppet still looks alive, just like that. So have a think about your puppet's movement and positioning. Another thing to think about as well as whilst thinking about positioning is I quite like to pretend that I'm holding the puppet so it doesn't just look like my arm up its backside. So quite often I will like hold it in my hand so it looks like I'm holding the puppet or having it close to me like this. There you go, so it seems a bit more real. There you go, so have a think about your puppet's movement and position. Another technique that I think is important is making sure that you have eye contact with the puppet and with the viewers watching so that it just engages you all. It might be that you do it not in time. Whatever you do, just make sure that you have some time when you're looking at your puppet and talking together and when you're looking at the viewers as well. That kind of makes it feel more natural and engaging. It could be that you're actually looking away for some reason, or your puppet's trying to get your attention and you're not making eye contact. But anyway, have a think about your eye contact. Something else that I did in that sketch was I used some props. Where's my flower gone? There it is. Here's Bertie's flower. Aww. Props are really great, just visual aids to help with whatever the sketch is all about. So have a think about props. You might need to think about whether your puppet can hold them or not. Now Bertie Badger is my little finger on my thumb, and it's quite easy to hold things. But with Betsy Bear, my hand only goes up her back. I have no control over her hands. So getting her to hold it, I would have to kind of use her mouth, because I have got a bit of access and control over her mouth. So yeah, have to think about what your puppet can do. But using props is really fun and helpful. It could be actually that you use props on yourself. So sometimes if you need a character in the story but your puppets are too small to be the characters, then you could put, like if it was a soldier or something and you had a helmet and it would be a bit too big for your puppet, you could wear it yourself. So whatever your puppets can't do, think about if you can do it instead of them, as a bit like an assistant to your puppets. Yeah, is that right? Bertie thinks so. Okay, now it's over to you. I want you to have a quick go, if you want, at practicing moving your puppet whilst you're talking about your favourite thing, the favourite thing you love about your puppet. Or anything really, you can talk about whatever you want. So yeah, go on, have a go at talking whilst your puppet is moving. And if you want, you can pause this video right now and we'll carry on once you've finished. Go on, have a go. Okay, well, that is the end of our 4th training video on how to use puppets in your online sessions with children. If you have any topics that you'd like some training on, then do get in touch and we'll look into it. Isn't that right, Bertie Badger and Betsy Bear? Also, if you found these training videos helpful, then feel free to get in touch as well and let us know how you've got on. Oh, thank you, Betsy. Betsy's just reminded me to tell you about the next Bible Buds Live. When is it, Bertie? Oh yeah, so the next Bible Buds Live is Wednesday, the 13th of January 2021. Wow. Oh yeah, and it's at 10 AM if you were wondering, on our Bible Buds Facebook page. Oh yeah, we need to tell you about the exciting discount you can have for only 2 more days, because the discount expires on the 25th of December, Christmas Day. You can buy the Bible Buds material for 25% off. Woo, they're very excited about that. All you need, that's right Betsy, all you need is the code BUD, BUD 25%. So BUD 25, you get discount 25% off Bible Buds material until the 25th of December. So there you go for it guys. Right, I'm gonna finish by praying and then we'll say our goodbye song. I'm gonna pray then guys. Daddy God, thank you for this time together. Thank you that we can use puppets and stories and songs to communicate your love to the children in our care. And I pray that every person watching will have got excited about how they can communicate to their children. I pray that you would use each viewer in powerful ways. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Goodbye everybody.
Goodbye, Bible Buds.